organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, see what special events the Domestic Violence Intervention Program is holding this month to raise awareness.
And what does your Facebook page say about you? One study seems to think it could say you might have an alcohol problem.
And in sports, sophomore safety Tanner Miller could have a big season after a career-high game at Penn State. That's all coming your way next. Daily Iowan TV starts now.
Thanks for tuning into Daily Iowan TV, your television news, sports, and weather source for the Daily Iowan. I'm Reed Chandler.
And I'm Megan Grody. The UI libraries have successfully digitized 1,500 historic government-issued posters from World War II through the 1990s. The posters will be preserved and made available in a digital format thanks to the partnership between the UI libraries and the U.S. Government Printing Office. You can check out the collection at the link at the bottom of your screen.
Police arrested a man for assaulting a woman at a gas station in Iowa City early Wednesday morning. David Thompson Jr., 29, allegedly entered a BP gas station around 3 a.m. Wednesday and began arguing with a woman in the store about sleeping in her vehicle. Thompson reportedly told the woman to take her glasses off after she refused to allow him to sleep in the vehicle, and when she did, he allegedly struck her in the right side of her face, causing redness and swelling. The man was found by officials heading southbound on Keokuk Street and was charged with assault causing bodily injury or mental illness.
As October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, anti-domestic violence organizations in Iowa City are working to increase public awareness of the issue. On Tuesday, the Domestic Violence Intervention Program in Iowa City met at the UI Old Capitol Center to plan ways to better educate people on the impact of domestic violence to families and communities.
During this month, they try and hold a series of events that are geared towards informing the community about the incidents and nature of domestic violence, a little bit about our programming, and reaching out to victim survivors to get resources and supplies out to them.
The meeting included emotional stories from victims and 4 researchers helping to prevent domestic violence in rural areas. All states have established domestic violence intervention programs that offer services like shelter and counseling to victims. If you know someone that is in a dangerous relationship, encourage them to get help at the Domestic Violence Intervention Program.
The UI student organization EcoHawk has announced a Green Dream waste sort for UI residence halls. The recycling event will be held on Friday, October 14th, and will focus on sorting waste within residence halls to maximize eco-friendly procedures. Students participating in the event will don protective suits and filter through trash to see how well the residence halls on campus are recycling. Waste sorts, or audits, decide how much waste is actually recyclable, and a previous sort found 78% of discarded trash could have been recycled.
And the University of Iowa Community Credit Union may find an increase in debit account owners this year. As national banks begin charging debit account owners for using their account, many students at the UI are looking to cut costs. At the UI Community Credit Union, they understand student situations and are marketing accordingly. The credit union hopes to attract more prospective students to their business. You can find out how the University Credit Union plans to increase marketing in tomorrow's pages of the Daily Iowan.
A recent study found Facebook pages may hint at users having an alcohol problem. Daily Iowan TV's Adrian Crossley spoke with researchers to find out just how accurate your Facebook page can be.
Many students wake up on Sunday morning, open their Facebook pages, and check out all the new pictures their friends have posted of their weekend activities. But how many of those pictures involve the consumption of alcohol? In Iowa City, underage drinking is a major topic of discussion. The 21 ordinance and increased policing downtown have been the city's major attempts to lower the number of underage drinkers. But how can these efforts truly be measured? A recent study shows that there may be a causal link between Facebook posts and alcoholism among underage college students. The study was performed by researchers from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, University of Washington, and the Seattle Children's Research Institute. The Facebook pages of the study's participants ages 18 to 20 were placed in 3 categories: non-displayers, alcohol displayers, intoxication problem drinking displayers, or IPD. The study found that 58.3% of IPD displayers were at risk for a drinking problem, compared to the 22.6% of non-displayers.
Typically on any average Friday or Saturday, I can go on my Facebook and pretty much see a lot of disastrous things going on.
This study does note that because of its lack of a certain demographic, it cannot be used to portray a generalization. Adrienne Crossley, Daily Iowan TV.
And this Facebook study comes shortly after a social media study we saw a couple weeks back about distractions during midterm weeks.
And still more to come from Daily Iowan TV. See how the UI Upward Bound program is working to help a neighboring city.
And learn about UI teachers learning to better educate students through the use of cartoons.
Plus, find out which Iowa tennis player did something no other Hawkeye has done before.
All of this and more to come, but first, here's your local weather forecast with Daily Iowan TV's Mike Howell.
Thanks, guys. Tomorrow we'll likely see similar conditions that we saw today, with a slight chance of showers throughout the day. Looks to be about 56 degrees around 8 tomorrow morning, and it doesn't look to warm up too much by midday, as we'll see temps around 64 at noon. Then by 10 p.m. tomorrow night, it will cool down to about 54 degrees. As we look at the extended forecast, we'll see highs in the mid-60s and clear skies for the next couple of days. Be sure to dress warm for the game on Saturday, as it looks to be about 61 degrees around kickoff. But we'll cool down into the mid-50s by the end of the game. And as we make our way into next week, temps will cool down into the 50s. And there's a chance for rain beginning Sunday and continuing through Tuesday. That's Thursday's check of the weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Mike. The UI Upward Bound project announced its partnership with Columbus Junction to hold a day of community service. The aim of the service day is to beautify the city of Columbus Junction with trash pickups, mowing lawns, planting trees, raking leaves, and creating an installation project. An estimated 55 students from Columbus Junction and surrounding areas of Davenport, Muscatine, and West Liberty will volunteer with UI students. The goal of the Upward Bound project is to prepare students for college. Students are eligible for the program if they will be the first in their family to attend.
And Republican presidential candidate nominee Mitt Romney has seen more improvement in the Iowa electronic market stock value after Tuesday night's Republican debate in New Hampshire. Romney's contracts were trading for nearly 70 cents Wednesday morning, signaling a higher probability of him winning the GOP nomination, according to IEM traders. The Iowa electronic markets are run in the Tippie College of Business here at the UI and gives traders around the world a chance to buy and sell contracts based on what they think the outcome of the future event will be.
And the Center for Teaching provided an interesting forum for professors at the UI to discuss an unusual teaching method Wednesday afternoon. The Daily Iowan TV's Josh Bolander attended the forum to see just what UI teachers are learning to implement into their classrooms.
When famed cartoonist Charles Schulz began his storied career over 60 years ago in the late 1940s, it can be assumed he had no idea what the animated world of comics would evolve into. While most would associate cartoons with laughter and humor, highly respected members of the academic community sat down today at the UI campus to discuss how these illustrations could be an aid to more visual learners.
Asking people to reflect by writing as you can by asking them to draw. Partly because we're so used to being asked for feedback in writing.
The event, Drawn Into Learning, was aimed as a platform for both professors and teaching assistants to garner new teaching approaches by incorporating visual techniques with their own individual teaching styles.
The other thing that's really nice about comics is it is a wonderful sort of entry into drawing and writing. There's something that is reached in your brain when you draw it that I think, isn't as easy to articulate through language.
While cartoons may not be the most conventional way of teaching students, studies have shown it is effective, giving UI professors something to think about. Josh Bolander, Daily Iowan TV.
The meeting lasted around 3 hours with participants given the chance to meet in groups and discuss visual learning.
The accused Christmas Day bomber pled guilty to all counts Wednesday afternoon, as reported by CNN. Umar Abdulmutallab, the Nigerian man who allegedly attempted to detonate a bomb on board an American flight last Christmas, has pleaded guilty in U.S. court to all charges after previously pleading not guilty. The man said in a statement, "I am guilty of this by U.S. law, but not by the Quran." Mutallab has been charged with terrorism among other counts. Sentencing will take place on January 12th. And now, Daily Iowan TV Sports' Ian Martin joins us at the desk. And Ian, this year's Iowa football team has a much younger look to it.
Yeah, Reed, there's a lot of players that are now vying for possibly 3-year positions on the Iowa football team. And it seems the Hawkeyes have done nothing this year but find replacements for the 2010 squad that had so much talent but lost so many players to the draft and graduation. But at least one spot has finally been filled. True sophomore Tanner Miller started his first game in the defensive backfield against Pittsburgh 4 weeks ago and now seems to be a regular. Daily Iowan TV Sports' Chelsea Byrne takes a look at how number 5 earned his keep.
7 tackles and his name flying out of all the announcers' mouths during Iowa's 13-3 loss against Penn State this past weekend meant nothing to Tanner Miller. Although the true sophomore recorded his career high in tackles Saturday, it didn't matter to him because his team didn't win.
Nothing you do as an individual matters if you don't get the win, and that's all I'm focused on.
This type of attitude is why the defensive back is starting for the Hawkeyes after only seeing a little bit of action in 8 games last season. One of 9 true freshmen in 2010, it was Marcus Coker and James Morris fans heard the most about, not necessarily Tanner Miller. That small taste of the real deal last year was all Miller needed to make sure this year it was his name Hawk fans knew.
My offseason was kind of tough. I had a shoulder injury, and I had to fight through that, and that made me have that much more motivation to I got my feet wet a little bit last year in the bowl game, and I just pushed me even more during the offseason to get back to full health and to get to where I am now.
The Kelowna, Iowa native had some big shoes to fill when it was his time to shine, though, replacing 2 safeties who in the eyes of some cannot be replaced. Losing Brett Greenwood and Tyler Sash in the backfield after the 2010 season left a lot of question marks. But Tanner already knew what he had to do. In fact, he learned it straight from those 2 guys.
Brett and Tyler, those 2 guys can't say enough about those 2 guys. They really showed me what it takes to prepare myself to be able to play, and what it takes day in and day out to prepare yourself to get yourself ready to play. And those are 2 of the best role models I could have ever asked for.
The Hawkeyes needed everyone to step up last Saturday against Penn State, and some did. Tanner Miller did, and he's ready to do it again and again all season long. Chelsea Byrne, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
Miller and the defense have versatile Northwestern quarterback Dan Persa on their hands this week. And for more on that matchup, check out our edition of Pregame tomorrow. And in his last season as a Hawkeye, senior Mark Bruch has already accomplished something that no Iowa tennis player has done previously. Daily Iowan TV Sports' Giovanna Simic and Mike Howell have the story.
Senior tennis player Mark Bruch made Iowa history by being the first Hawkeye to reach the main draw of the Intercollegiate Tennis Association All-American Tournament. But already, he says he'll stay humble.
It's a great feeling for sure, but I know that there have been great players in the history of the university, and I just try to play for the team and play for the coaches because they actually are the reason why I'm here. So, it's not getting over my head.
And although he was defeated in the first round of the main draw, the loss will be used as motivation for the upcoming season.
I have to work mentally just to stay calm during my matches and stay more positive. And also I'm going to work on being aggressive during my matches because that worked really well once I was aggressive in the All-Americans.
Not only is Bruch a fierce competitor, but he is also a dedicated player.
As far as practice goes, the guy puts in a lot of extra time. He does a lot of individual work.
And by setting the example making it to the tournament, Bruch has also become a leader of the team.
He definitely brings that fire and that passion for it, so he's a great leader.
As the team's #1 player, Bruch may be the leader Iowa needs for a great season. Mike Howell, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
And Bruch actually, for qualifying for the ITA tournament, was named the Big Ten Co-Athlete of the Week.
All right. Thanks, Ian.
And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek at Thursday's edition of Daily Iowan.
Read about how Occupy Iowa organizers use their protests to educate the Iowa City community.
Plus, learn why local LGBT groups are concerned about a Republican win in the upcoming District 18 Senate race. Before we leave you, let's take a look at your local weather forecast. We'll see a high of 67 degrees tomorrow and a low of 46 in the evening, as well as a chance of showers throughout the day.
And that's all the time we have for this edition of Daily Iowan TV. You can tune in tomorrow at the same time or check us out online at dailyiowan.com. For Daily Iowan TV, I'm Reed Chandler. Thanks again for watching and have a great night.